Education is power. I grew up in Blakely, Georgia. In 1953, I was born in Early County on a farm. I came from a big family. It was 9 children, 3 boys, 6 girls, my mom and dad. My dad had a 3rd grade education and my mom had a 4th grade education. But my dad was an avid reader. He read the newspapers every day and he could quote to you what happened from day to day. And he was a great baseball fan. He loved the Atlanta Braves. He knew all the players. But they taught us how to work. I mean, even though we were poor, we didn't know we were poor. We had food, we had vegetables, we grew our own vegetables, chickens, hogs were killed twice a year. My mom, she was a maid, but they instilled in us to work hard. If you want something, work hard for it. I remember picking cotton in Blakely, and I promised God and a few more responsible people, if I could get an education, I didn't want to be out there in the hot sun anymore. I wanted to do better. And also I wanted to be able to reach back and help others. What good is it that you have all these things and you're not able to reach back and help others? And that way education comes in. That's where education comes in. You become educated so that you can do better and you can help others to become better as well. But Mom and Dad, they didn't have money to send us to college. So I went on grant and aid. I had an aunt that worked at Albany State. Her name was Edine Johnson. She was married to my mom's brother, and she was in charge of financial aid. So she made sure that I had the aid that I needed, but of course I had to pay it back. I worked 2 jobs. I worked at Sears, which is right now where the police department is located. I will walk across the bridge when I get off at night, 9 o'clock at night. I will walk back to my dorm. I worked at the library on the campus 2 or 3 hours a day during the day, so that I had the extra money that I needed to buy my personal items or to buy, food or snacks or whatever. Many nights went to bed hungry or had peanut butter and crackers, or sometimes the crackers without the peanut butter. That's what I went through for 4 years. I graduated in 1974 from Albany State University, and my degree was in sociology. I started working at Albany Housing Authority in 1983. I was hired as a community services program manager. So that's what I had started as in 1983. And then later got promoted to housing services at that time, housing services director. I worked 35 and a half years. Okay, Mr. James Mitchell was an awesome man. He was a farmer who lived down the road from us. He also was the bus driver for us. Many days, we lived back in the field. And of course, back then, the bus would run on the paved road. And so he would park side the road and wait for us. It would be about 5 or 6 of us running about a half a mile to make sure that we catch that bus. If it wasn't for him, many days, we would not have gone to school. If he had not stopped the bus along the paved road for us to get on that bus, we would not have gone to school because somebody else would have said, they're not here, we're going on. But he made sure he waited for us. A lot of time we'd be running. We should have been we should have been on the track team. But anyway, he made sure that he took us to school, and I'm grateful for him today, to this day, for that. I retired in 2018. At that time, we had hired a new executive director, Dr. William Miles, and he talked about several things that he wanted to do in the community. By him growing up in public housing, he talked about things of scholarship for residents in public housing. And I told him at that time that I wanted to be the first one to donate to that scholarship. I wanted to make sure that what better way to assist public housing residents than education. When you are educated, you're able to move forward, move out of public housing, and allow someone else to come in, and you move on to buy your own home or whatever you decide to do. So I was the first one to make that donation and to make it possible. So that's how it came about at that point.
Education is power. Well, for a young man like me, grew up in public housing and born and raised in public housing. And for me, education becomes critical because I've always wanted a lot out of life. I've wanted great things in my life. I wanted great things for my family. And I saw a lot as I grew up through public housing. But for me, in order for me to achieve some of the things I wanted to achieve, I knew education was that piece. So for me, it was critical because no matter how you was judged, no matter what label people or society tried to place on you, as long as you had an education, that was the one thing nobody could ever take from you. So that became critical for my belief, my faith, and some of the things I wanted to do with my life. Coming to the Albany Housing Authority, understanding the longevity and the efforts that Ms. Henderson herself had put into it, the 30 plus years, the interaction she had with the residents, her time, her blood, her sweat, her tears, that means something. And it shouldn't go overlooked. It shouldn't be taken for granted. And so it would just be fitting to allow something of this nature to be in her honor, because I also knew, how education played a role in her life and what it means to her. So if for me, it was a pleasure, it was an honor to come up with something that would literally speak to her heart, speak to who she is as an individual, and all at the same time making a huge difference in the lives of people in public housing. This is the one chance that people get to see to where, hey, people in public housing will not receive a handout, but they'll receive a hand up. The Jeanette Henderson Scholarship was birthed from a place to where understanding the population that we serve and the importance of education. And so what we wanted to do was offer an opportunity for residents in public housing to receive financial assistance to achieve an advanced degree. This was one of the best ways to do it, especially in honor of a loyal, dedicated employee such as Miss Jeanette Henderson, just to honor her for all the diligence and the hard work that she has put in, trying to make life better for those that we serve. So it was an honor and a pleasure to come up with something that was so fitting for Miss Jeanette Henderson.